Feel blessed, ladies and gentlemen, because you are in the presence of Bruce Campbell's Inquisitor today. Bruce Campbell, FYI, one of the last known defenders of the Imperial Guard at the moment. Everyone, it seems, in the meta is saying IG suck, IG are the hardest faction to play, if not one of the worst factions. Oh, I like that we're rocking some, I believe these are Talon Desert Boys. Makes sense, in the desert. But yeah, everyone's saying that IG are really bad. If they're not one of the weakest races, then they're certainly one of the hardest to play. And a lot of people are saying they're the weakest. I don't necessarily think that's true, but Bruce Campbell very vehemently disagrees. He thinks IG are busted, at high level, one of the best factions that you can get. Now, I will say this is a very good Space Marine map, and Space Marines, of all the factions that you can fight as IG, are probably one of the toughest. Generally, IG are very good against Orcs and Tyranids, and then they do okay against Chaos, Eldar. Not really against Eldar. Eldar wreck them, and so do Space Marines generally. So yeah, this is a Space Marine, so this is hard for IG, and it's also a really good Space Marine map. And perhaps we can talk a little bit more about why this is a good Space Marine map later on as the game progresses. So no early stomp here from Bruce Campbell, which is, as you can see, clearly putting on a lot of pressure here from the Tactical Space Marines, because there's nothing stopping him running into melee. And this is the really annoying thing. You see all this pressure here that he's done, and it's allowed the scouts to cap up so much of the map, even though scouts are really not very good in the matchup. They can't trade with guardsmen, they're very vulnerable to the sentinel. Yet in spite of that, they were given all this free time by the Tax and the Tech Marine to cap, and then they get out without losing a single model. Meanwhile, the guardsmen did drop some models. I believe 1 or 2 guardsmen was killed here, and there is no sergeant on the guardsmen either yet. So that was a relatively expensive purchase. That would be 18 rec per model loss. You see here the very annoying utilization of the fucking tank traps as well. Tank traps, one of the greatest counters to the Imperial Guard. If this was any other map where there wasn't a tank trap or any other piece of cover, the Sentinel would have destroyed it and forced off the scouts. Because of the tank trap, can't do that. Nightmare. Absolute nightmare. But you got to play around that. So the Sentinel's going to rotate to the bottom, hopefully. No, it's just idle. Ooh, we've got a heavy weapons team coming out. Interesting. So, double Tactical Space Marines and a Devastator squad for Deimos, and a heavy weapons team for Bruce Campbell. You don't see the heavy weapons team too often. I wonder if Deimos is going to commit to a Assault Space Marine squad afterwards. That would obviously be a great counter to the heavy weapons team. You could do. It's a long tier 1, but generally the long tier 1 does favour the Space Marines quite a lot. I don't really know why he's just got his tax stood there in the open. He does drop that Tactical Marine to the Heavy Bolter. Bit of greedy play here actually from Deimos. He was trying to flank and kill it with the double tax and the Tech Marine, but not going to happen. And he basically, I mean, he loses that engagement when really he didn't need to have all of his forces retreat. And not only that, he lost a Tactical Space Marine as well, which is very expensive. Really, as Space Marines in Tier 1, you shouldn't be losing any Tactical Space Marines against the Imperial Guard. There's only range damage. So yeah, very poor play there from Deimos. Very greedy play. And it looks like Bruce is going to be moving over to do some sort of push onto the gen farm. But there is no gen farm yet. Obviously, this build here from Deimos is extremely requisition heavy. So he hasn't had the resources to put down any generators yet. Perhaps saving for an ASM squad. It will be a while. Now, we see spotters coming out here from Bruce Campbell. They will obviously be a fantastic counter to the Devastator squad, which was a bit ambitious in its setup there. Beautifully executed there from Bruce. Knew the timing very well. Stomping down that Devastator squad. And now pretty good setup here from the heavy weapons team, comboing with the smoke shell. Going to debuff the range of all these troops. These guys getting suppressed and knocked over. Yeah, beautiful players here. Absolutely trivializing the ranged blob there. What? Deimos is going to go for double Devastators? Oh, this is a big mistake from Deimos. He should definitely be getting the ASM to counter this heavy weapons team. One of the other things I was going to say before that engagement went off is he's got spotters, right? They counter the Devastators, but the problem is now for IG, you've got no detectors, and scouts are a thing here. So he could go for the Scout Sarge with the grenades and infiltration, and just grenade the heavy weapons team. There is no detector. So that's something to consider, not going for Cadishans, it leaves him very vulnerable to that. And also, of course, going spotters means that he has no counter initiation against ASM. There's no melee units, so yeah, I really don't like this Devastator squad. It's really playing into the fact that artillery spotters were purchased here. Really playing into it. I don't know why Deimos went for a second Devastator instead of an ASM squad. Now, Inquisitor in tier 2 can be a bit of a pain for ASM. She gets that Assail global, which can immobilize the squad for a while, but look, I don't care. You still gotta get it. You still gotta get the ASM in tier 1. They'd be so powerful against this composition that Bruce has. So powerful. So the Inquisitor's just been capping, makes sense. She's not really good against anything here. Now, if there were ASM, she would probably rotate down to the main fights and you'd have one of the Guardsmen go off and cap. You'd have to have the Inquisitor with her Holy Brazier, counter-initiating the ASM to some extent. Yeah, we've got full line of sight here, but obviously Bruce couldn't see this Devastator set up there. He wouldn't have had line of sight. And again, just imagine if these scouts had a grenade in retreat, bang! Just annihilate that heavy weapons squad. Bruce is going tier 2 first. Understandable, he's spent less. Guardsmen are a lot cheaper than tactical Space Marines, and this is a lot of las gunfire. Tax stood out in the open there with no cover. Not going to be in a great situation. So obviously with the Guardsmen coming out sooner than the double tax, the gens get dropped down for Bruce a lot sooner than Deimos, and that results in a faster tech. Also, spotters at the moment are extremely cheap. They're 240 requisition, 25 power, so they're actually cheaper than a Devastator squad, which is 250-30. So they're a little bit faster than the devs. And then heavy weapons team is on par with the devs, so yeah. Just a leaner build for Bruce. And he... honestly, it seems like he's had the better end of it. He's a little bit behind on VPs, but I think the map control generally has favoured him. VPs don't obviously equate to map control. Perhaps he focused on VPs less. Plasma guns already here on the Guardsman. That's really interesting. Double plasma guns. Wow, and he's only just getting the Sergeant on this Guardsman squad. Very interesting. So, yeah, this was a really lean build. Clearly. No upgrades in the Inquisitor. He has the incendiary shells on the spotters, which are known to be quite overpowered at the moment. Though generally more so in team games where you can get multiple artillery spotters easier and get away with it. But we'll see. So heavy weapons team here going to reset up, try and bait the Marines in. I'm not sure how I feel about these plasma guns coming up so early on these very squishy Guardsmen. I mean, certainly if you can suppress the Marines out of cover, the plasma guns will melt them, but they're just so fragile right now, these Guardsman squads. You don't really want to take much of a... you don't really want to trade with the Marines if they're in cover, plasma guns or not. And yeah, he's still getting suppressed. Missile Launcher Sentinel's going to come up. I mean, that would be useful to counter the Devastators for sure. You can see the damage coming out of it there. Very, very impressive. It's going to be P-Devs for Deimos. Deimos really going down the Devastator route here. Rosarius for Bruce Campbell. Really interesting to get that in tier 2. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I feel like if you don't have any upgrade already in tier 2, I'd just go for the mandate, the invulnerability and the speed buff. I find that generally more effective in tier 2. Because 500 HP is 500 HP whether you're in tier 1 or tier 2. And wow, look at the Inquisitor. I've just realised literally has 0 XP. I mean, not many models have been killed. Has it just been one tactical Marine that's died so far for Deimos? Like I said earlier, you know, even just losing one Marine is quite unacceptable versus IG. You can lose scouts, and you should lose scouts if the IG is playing well, but not happening in this game, it appears. So I wonder if there will be a plasma gun on the Tech Marine that will absolutely melt the Sentinel. Can be a good tool just to get it out, kill the Sentinel. It's still decent. There we go, we've got some P-Dev shots coming in. We do have the shield upgrade here on the heavy weapons team, which is going to protect it a bit, but it's going to get wiped by the P-Dev if he doesn't see it. Ooh, just retreats in time there. That would have been a wipe otherwise. Just in time, gets out of there. It's going to be a Chimera for Bruce Campbell. Now that makes sense, given the double guardsman, with the plasma guns, that is. Obviously, fantastic synergy here with the guardsman. Keeps them nice and tanky. Where are the spotters? Shooting out those shells. Wait. Oh, they must have been here, dropped the shell and then retreated. You see the incendiary shell there. So Plasma Dev's pretty fragile right now. Chimera just going to drive through. You know, the wind up on the P-Devs means it's too slow to fire their shots. And then the Devastators are going to have to back off. No Las Cannon coming up yet. Las Cannon is now coming up on this rear Devastator squad. What's going up top? Not much. Sentinel and Inquisitor just forcing off some attacks here. And you can see the map control is heavily in the favour right now of Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell going to be opting for another heavy weapons team. I did see him queuing up the Primary Psyker at one point. Can the Las Cannon get its final shot off? I don't believe so. No. Too long range. Again, just imagine if you had ASM there to jump in and melt bomb them. The Chimera would be immobilized and it would be dead. And again, the Inquisitor has been on her own on the sidelines a lot here. Imagine having to send one of the guardsmen to do that capping because you have to deal with ASM down here. And then you've only got one guardsman repairing, or the Inquisitor's capping on her own, but then that's great because you've got ASM and you don't want the Inquisitor there assailing the ASM. I really think the ASM would have been a game changer here for Deimos, and going up against a heavy weapons team and a spotter not getting ASM is dogmatic. But let's see how this can play out. Where are the P-Devs? Okay, the P-Devs are back in base. They obviously need to move forward. They're the counter right now to the heavy weapons team, which is really holding Deimos' army back. What's that there? Smoke. Yeah, okay. Chimera going to take the top side. Inquisitor going to claim that BP. Deimos probably saving up right now for an assault cannon Dreadnought. Ooh, quite a brave flank here from the Chimera. Is stunned by the last cannon. Probably going to get taken out by the P-Dev. Yep. This is the value of the P-Dev, man. Oh, he's in the fucking Hell Fury. He tried using the Hell Fury Incendiary Shell combo and he actually burnt his own guardsman. God, nearly wiped himself there. Double heavy weapons teams. What on earth? So, gonna go for double autocannons, I guess? I mean, I don't know, Bruce. I think a Psycho would have been better, to be honest. So yeah, Chimera's down, and there's going to be a Dreadnought coming out now. It was very ambitious play there from the Chimera. I think Bruce was getting a little bit carried away with himself because he was winning the engagements and had such good map control. He was just pushing way too deep. You can see clearly Deimos here is attacking ground where he last seen the heavy weapons team. He can't actually see them in game like we can.
Understood. Upgrading tech.
And moving forward a little bit, probing. He really should be getting the infiltration on the scouts, I think, using them to scout. So here come double auto cannons. Okay, Bruce got a third heavy weapons team. What the fuck is this? This is bizarre, is what this is. So you can see the autocannon will do a little bit to the vehicles, but it doesn't snare like the last cannon, which can be pretty detrimental actually. Because the Dreadnought can just do that, just charge in. Gonna have to be very careful with his Sentinel right now. Could get taken out by an assault cannon Dreadnought. It's got double repair support right now, which is helping quite a lot. It looks like the Sentinel's gonna die here. Dreadnought's so good against it. Could see a nasty retreat barrage as well on the guardsman. Ooh, that's really tempting. Yeah, I'd go for that. Yeah, yikes. Yikes. And going to be able to kill the Sentinel. And that is why the Assault Cannon Dreadnought is so good against the Imperial Guard. But here is a little enfilade here of autocannon fire and an Inferno pistol on the Inquisitor as well. That's going to be pretty scary. Now the Inferno pistol comboing quite nicely with the Rosarius here. She's a very tanky lady. Can she kill the Dreadnought before it can kill her? Yes, she can. And that is a massive investment from Deimos destroyed there. You've got to think that is not only 120 power for the Dreadnought itself, but another 30 for the Assault Cannon. That is 150 power that Deimos just lost. And that 150 power could have fueled him going tier 3, as Bruce has done. Bruce, you can see here, clearly in tier 3, with a very weird composition at this point. One Guardsman and triple heavy weapons teams. Deimos needs to move his plasma cannon off of the elevation here because it is causing him to overshoot, unfortunately. And good use of this plasma cannon is going to be pivotal in countering the triple heavy weapons team. Now, Deimos could go tier 3, isn't yet. Perhaps wants to repurchase the Dreadnought. I don't think that would be a good idea at this point. I think he should be going tier 3. You know, this heavy bolted one could definitely get a las cannon. I guess he probably can't afford to get a las cannon in terms of dealing with this infantry composition. I'm not sure. Bruce Campbell could be going for Kassakin pretty soon. It looks like he will be saving up for a Lehman Russ, but then it'll be Kassakin afterwards. Kassakin with their plasma guns will handle the Space Marine infantry pretty effectively as well. Indeed, we've got a Dreadnought repurchase here from Deimos.
We have a target. Reporting enemy contact, sir. They have us pinned.
Rosarius putting in a nice amount of work here now. Just tanking. Is he actually... I think Bruce is actually going for a Baneblade. Baneblade... I mean, that's memeing. He's now memeing on Deimos to try and prove a point. You should not be going for a Baneblade here at all. P-devs are going to be difficult for a Baneblade. There's already a las cannon. You need the mobility. And crucially, one of the greatest ways to kill a Baneblade is to use the orbs of the Omnissiah with the Tech Marine into an orbital bombardment, which will instantly kill it. And when you snare a Baneblade with a las cannon, it's actually quite easy to hit the orbs of the Omnissiah. So, we'll see. He might be going for a Stormlord. He is. He's going to go for a Stormlord, not a Baneblade. So the Stormlord, you can reinforce your Guardsman off it, but the problem is, Bruce actually only has one Guardsman squad anyway to reinforce, so the Stormlord synergy is not as good, and the Stormlord compared to the Baneblade does way worse against vehicles. It's got the las cannons that the Baneblade has, but the actual main gun of the Stormlord, the Vulcan Heavy Bolter, is only Inferno damage. It's not an anti-vehicle weapon at all. It's for killing heavy infantry. Whereas obviously the Baneblade cannon would be good against everything, including vehicles, so... He might struggle against this Dreadnought, wherever this Dreadnought is. Wait, where's the Dreadnought? Oh, there it is. Another Assault Cannon Dreadnought. I mean, it's still got all the AV from before, but the problem is he doesn't have many supporting elements. And the reason this Dreadnought, well, the prior Dreadnought got killed was because it was pushing super deep to get the wipes that it achieved, killing a Guardsman squad and a Sentinel. Honestly, that's probably worth it, to be honest. Probably. You can see here the value of the P-Dev for sure.
Let's do it.
Ooh, very risky putting the autocannon in the building at the top there. Might get taken out by the P-Dev, we'll have to see. Inquisitor gets the decap, she'll be happy with that. What's the P-Dev doing? Come on, P-Dev. Don't walk too far forward, P-Dev. Don't show you're about to attack him. Shouldn't have moved so far up, he's going to see him now. But if... Oh, this might even kill even on retreat. Oh, he misfires! It doesn't matter, they're dead. Yeah, sweet. Alright. Well, it's on the Stormlord now. And some Stormtroopers getting called in here from the Inquisitor as well. Let's see, the last cannon is still on play at the back here, going to be able to get some chip damage off. Dreadnought's going to force melee, but really could do with getting rid of the AV first, yeah. Put that Vulcan bolter onto the fucking Devastators, man. Stormlord should really force off the last cannon first, that should be the priority. Tech Marine now has the melter gun as well, and is extremely durable. And 0 support on the field right now. Why is the Tech Marine leaving? I'm not sure why the Tech Marine isn't attacking the Stormlord right now. That seems very weird. I'm not really following that one. I guess Deimos is going for a VP win, but it seems a bit fast for that. You've seen the sheer amount of anti-infantry DPS though coming out of that Stormlord. Absolutely melted the Tech Marine there. Double Devastators. Oh no, sorry, double heavy weapons team. I thought it was double autocannon, but it's not. It's the last cannon. Alright. I mean, he really needs to get rid of this stupid last cannon Devastator. It's been pounding the Stormlord here for really no reason. He could have turned around and forced this thing off ages ago, but instead now he's having to dedicate so many resources to trying to repair this thing. He could have forced these guys off in literally seconds if he focus fired them. But he hasn't for some reason. And it looks like Bruce Campbell's now gonna lose this game on VPs. Let's see how fast it can force him off when he shoots the last cannon. One of the heavy bolters is not even shooting right now. Yeah, I mean, there you go. Now the last cannon can pew-pew onto the Dreadnought. But yeah, not a lot of anti-vehicle DPS here against the Dreadnought coming out the Stormlord. Missile launch, double missile launchers coming up. Oh my god. Oh, this thing's so screwed. Yeah. I mean, there's just no support. It's completely on its own. Let's see, we'll get a little grenade spike war. Failed grenade there. Yeah, Stormtroopers will win that fight at the bottom, but the VPs are still ticking down for Bruce Campbell, 2-1 in favour of Deimos. Bruce needs to get on a VP somewhere. I mean, he's flanking around here. Guardsmen looks like they're running to the top. Man, look at this thing's damage. It is very scary against infantry. Oof. Stormtroopers just gibbed in retreat by that assault cannon barrage. And the Tech Marine's going to go bottom, so he needs to cap the mid now as well. Yeah, that Vulcan Heavy Bolter is ripping through these Marines. Now, the obvious counter here would be to get a Predator Annihilator with a Twin-Link Las Cannon, but obviously Deimos is in tier 2. Really shocked to not see the Obs, the Omnissiah. That would have been brutal against the Stormlord right now. So Las Cannons on either side firing in here. Oh wow, it's just out of the arc of fire. Hilarious. I'm not sure what the Inquisitor was doing there, running into melee. Whoops. Damn. So the Dreadnought dies, and the Guardsman came in and saved the day, forcing off that last cannon, but it was unfortunately a little bit late. I think if the Inquisitor shot rather than running into melee against that Dreadnought, the Stormlord would still be alive, and then maybe Bruce would have a bloody chance at this. I mean, park the Stormlord up here with the Plasma Guardsman, that could be very hard to deal with. I think, honestly, the Plasma Guardsman... sorry, the Tactical Marines could have just caught that. Under the Guardsman fire. Nice little cover firefight here. Obviously, these Tactical Marines being missile attacks is not helping. They're one bolter down. Yeah, I'm afraid a Hell Fury isn't going to stop Tactical Space Marines.
Progress.
And now it's going to be the Kadeen Kastakins. So it's just a 1-to-1 cap. However, with the Inquisitor being suppressed here by the Devastators, the Tech Marine kills the Heavy Weapons team and takes this bottom VP. So then Bruce has to somehow get the mid, but how can he get the mid? It's being guarded right now by P-Devs and Tactical Marines.
Under attack. Our cover is good.
Let's see, will they hit? No, they're not even facing the correct direction. They are on elevation as well, so if he doesn't attack ground, he will overshoot.
Devastator has found us.
Well, he gets the decap mid. And okay, I was going to say, and somehow Deimos hasn't caught the bottom. He literally caps the bottom when I say that.
Attack Marines have struck.
Devastators. Blue.
Do it.
They walked into that, did the heavy weapons team. Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, here come the Kassakin.
Devastator has found us.
Yeah, this is done. There's no way.
We're engaged. Cover holding. The victory, sir. The Inquisitor is gone.
Yeah, Deimos has the VPs. He can play very conservatively here.
Ready. Devastator has found us.
And that's going to be the GG. Well, a bit of memery for you there from Bruce Campbell. Clearly overconfident in his IG. But some major macro mistakes, I think, from Deimos. Mostly just not getting ASM in Tier 1, to be honest. He's very dogmatic in his Tech Marine play against IG, I've noticed. He always does the same things no matter what. Which can be tough. But there you go, a bit of IG action. Always nice to see in the 1v1 scene. Especially when everyone is slating them. And we got to see a Stormlord in action as well, which is nice. Always cool to see the super units in 1v1. I hope you did enjoy that, folks. If you want more of this kind of thing, check out the Patreon. You'll get access to 30 plus casts, all high level 1v1, just for $5 a month. That is all from your boy Torpid this time, signing out.